Hey everyone, and welcome to the live webinar of Living Coral, the 2019 Pantone Color of the Year. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I want to introduce Erica Ilene, who is our co-host today. Erica, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Erica, and I'm known as Urban Daisies with an underscore on Instagram, and I am a licensed designer. And I also have another business called Meadow Street, where I design and manufacture a product in the kind of gift, home decor, and clothing accessory industry. So I've done that for years, and but mainly right now I'm doing surface pattern design and illustration for all markets, pretty much.
Cool. Okay. Hey guys, if you are wondering why on earth Pantone chose Living Coral as the color of the year, then you are in the right place. We are going to dive into all of the different reasons why this is the perfect color for 2019. So to go over today's agenda, we are going to recap the 2018 color of the year, which was ultraviolet. We'll talk about all the things why Living Coral is the Pantone color of the year for 2019. We'll explain all of that. We'll go over current events that evoke the color Living Coral, the history of the color coral, how your personality feels about the color coral, and how this can affect your business. So, hey, for those of you who don't know me, I am Lauren of Lauren Lesley Studio. What's up, fool? I am a portrait illustrator and senior textile designer, and my designs have sold in Anthropologie. These are two of my rug designs. So that's a little bit of a background on me. And as Erica said, she is a surface pattern designer. She started an amazing surface pattern design community Facebook group, so you can find her on Facebook there. And if you want to find her on Instagram, she is at urbandaisies_, and her website is at urbandaisies.com. Okay, so for a little history, these are the past colors of the year. So we can see the 2018 ultraviolet, the 2017 greenery, 2016 had the dual colors, rose quartz and serenity, and so on. So that gives us a little bit of an idea of where we have been. And so before we dive into Living Coral, let's just recap from 2018 on ultraviolet, the Pantone color of the year last year, which I think was kind of surprising, but once we got into sort of the meat of it, it was understandable why Pantone chose this color. And I did a whole video on this color as well. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, it's at youtube.com/c/Lauren Lesley. But just to recap a little bit, Latrice Eisman, the executive director of the Pantone Color Institute, says, "We were living in a time that requires inventiveness and imagination. It's this kind of inspiration that is indigenous to Pantone 1838-38 Ultraviolet, a blue-based purple that takes our awareness and potential to a higher level. From exploring new technologies and the greater galaxy to artistic expression and spiritual reflection, intuitive ultraviolet lights the way for what is yet to come." So I feel like this color choice was definitely a spiritual one. Erica, is there anything you want to chime in on from 2018?
Yeah, I mean, it has more of a space feel. To me, it looked a little more ominous. And in my experience of years and years and years in the industry where color was a big, working with my accessories and my other business, including this one, that color's always been a difficult color to market.
Right.
I'm going to be honest. It's a color that I would always include with my collections, generally my fall and winter collections. I used to do market with that other business a couple times a year. And I would include it as in you kind of had to, but it was always my least seller. The purples, especially the really dark, more ominous, deeper ones. Plums, eggplants are a little bit different, but I really struggled with this Pantone color last year. Trying to incorporate it into designs, and I just didn't. So really excited about this year's color. But in terms of it being the higher, I can see it into the technology. We just landed a spacecraft in Mars. We're exploring more options out in space. So I can see how that was incorporated, this color was incorporated into that in the technologies that's getting more advanced. But personally, aesthetically, for down here on Earth in the everyday world, I really struggled with this color this year.
Yeah, I don't think that Pantone always chooses the most commercial color. They had their reasons for picking it, but it was very difficult to use in terms of like product design. And I'm sure home decor, I mean, your surface pattern, I'm textiles. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of flipping through because a lot of the stuff that's been licensed recently, some of it will hit the markets pretty much most of it will hit 2019. And there just isn't anything remotely close to that. Yeah, it's just one of those colors. Just didn't. I had a hard time incorporating it, and it got really brushed over when I did see it at Blueprint. This new color, and we'll dive more into that, I think you're going to see a lot of.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more commercially viable. Okay, so I've heard Laurie Pressman speak. She's the VP of the Pantone Color Institute. I've heard her speak in Atlanta Market several times. So if you're going to be in Atlanta Market this January, I would highly recommend going to hear her speak and talk about this color. She always has a lot of great insight, and it was cool to see kind of how Pantone goes about picking their color of the year. So as we know, the color of the year for 2019 is Living Coral. It's a very bright, fresh color. So you may be wondering like how they do their color research. Well, they do not pick this color out of a crystal ball. It's not just random. I'm sure to people who are not designers, that's probably how it feels, but they actually do a ton of research collecting color information from street trends, fashion, retail, the runway, social media, and travel. And Pantone researches everything from cultural shifts, political dynamics, what's going on in current events, and also takes historical events into account. So let's dive into Living Coral being explained. So what was your first impression of Living Coral, Erica?
Oh, I just was so thrilled to see that color because I'm already starting to see it trend. It is okay. So I live in Southern California, and I'm from the beaches of LA. So very iconic beaches. A lot of movies and TV shows are filmed in my hometown, and that color is seen throughout all those years. And I mean, it's in the sunsets, it's in the sunrise, it's down to the flotation devices the lifeguards would use. They're red, but the sun would fade them and they would turn into these corals. And so this color really kind of struck a deep chord for me in terms of, I live in an area where it's sunny almost all the time. So I see it in the sunrise and the sunset. It's everywhere here. It's a color that really does well in a coastal style environment because we tend to, especially we live outdoors. We're outdoors all the time. We shy away from using blacks because they're hot and when the sun absorbs the heat. So you don't want to sit on a black cushion, or you don't want to have a black car because it gets even hotter. And so in terms of outdoors, I do see this color a lot. There's a lot of the houses here have red, we call them red tile roofs, but they're really kind of this coral color. Mm-hmm. And it looks nice when the sun sets on them. But also, obviously, because I live in California, unfortunately, there's been a lot of brush fires. Well, there's always brush fires, but right. When the sun sets, when there's a brush fire, if the fire's between you and the sun, so is west, the fire is west of you, the sky lights up into these fiery corals and fuchsias and hot pinks, and the sun actually goes from a coral to a hot pink. So this color just really runs in deep for me, but I'm already seeing it trend in a lot of areas, and I had already started including it into some designs, and I plan on doing that some more as we go along. And I'm scheduled to do Blueprint here again in New York in May. So I'm excited to see how this color goes over.
Yeah, I definitely am too. And I think it'll be a big hit. Like we said earlier, I think it is a very commercial color. So, okay, let me go back to the presentation. So, okay, what Pantone actually said about this color and the reason why they chose it, diving into that a little bit, they say that it's an animating and life-affirming coral hue with a golden undertone that energizes and enlivens with a softer edge. They call it vibrant yet mellow, warm, and nourishing. It's definitely warm. I mean, I would agree with all of those things. They also say that living coral provides comfort and buoyancy, which I feel like was a very important word choice here in our continually shifting environment. They call it sociable and spirited, encourages lighthearted activity, and it symbolizes optimism and the pursuit of joyful ventures. So Pantone's color choice in living coral directly relates to what they call the onslaught of digital technology and social media increasingly embedding into daily life. And I feel like this is a recurring theme for Pantone. They always seem to kind of touch on social media and technology, and even in ultraviolet, when they were saying, you know, we need a break from technology, and sort of ultraviolet was supposed to be this meditative space where we can, you know, get away from it for a bit. So what do you think about the social media and technology aspect in relation to this color choice?
So the word buoyancy, yeah, I can see that relating to this color a lot. Again, growing up right at the beach here in the Pacific Ocean, there's the buoys and stuff in the water. They start off red, but the sun fades them into that beautiful coral color. So it does have, it's something that we look for as we're in the boat. So there's a buoy, you know, it does have a lot of buoyancy. It's in, there's a lot of agriculture in my area. So, I mean, my peach tree, my apricot tree, it's in that, the colors is in that. So I do see this as a very playful and fun color. Interesting, both my kids, when they were little, their first favorite color tended to be in the oranges and coral colors. They were very attracted to that color. Mm-hmm. So, and I thought, I mean, it was really interesting, wasn't one, but both of them. And I tended to be a theme amongst their little friends at the time too. They're teenagers now, so they think very differently of the color, but
yeah. Well,
neither one of them are really attractive. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, yeah, I agree with the word buoyancy being really important and kind of like a keyword, I think, for us to sort of dive into, because we are sort of living in, I mean, Pantone always touches on how we are living in kind of difficult times. And so that buoyancy word, it directly relates to kind of marine life as well. But also I think there's a deeper meaning there, which means that sort of it encourages people to be resilient and sort of bounce back. Or do you see that kind of with where they're going?
Yeah, I do. And I do see this color being picked up and paired with other colors, fall colors in the fall. And my daughter's name is Autumn, because I just think that that's one of the most beautiful seasons. Although it's not the greatest looking season here in California. We don't get that many trees that change colors, but it is just such a strong, I mean, it makes such a statement of the changing of those colors. And it's the most colorful season of the four. I mean, in California, it's a little different. We really only have 2 seasons here, spring and summer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we do. I do have a few trees that do change colors, and but I do see this kind of picking up. It's the buoyancy, but just I see this carrying through just it through every season this year. I'm already seeing, I was at not Trader Joe's, Home Goods, and I saw a lot of flamingos trending, Christmas flamingos. So I'm seeing that trend already. So that will carry through for Christmas, this color. I'll see it through fall as well as spring, you know, and summer. So, yeah, I do think they did well in terms of pairing up a very well descriptive set of adjectives with this color.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely saw it as being more summery, but in terms of technology, I think that, yeah, Pantone seems to always kind of go back to this theme. So it's interesting to see sort of these foam colors, also the cases coming into coral. They also say that living coral embodies our need for playful expression. And I definitely see it as a very happy color. Like it definitely like lifts the mood. It's energizing. It can be youthful. But yeah, I see it as summer, vacation, beach, very happy color.
Yeah, it's such a contrast from last year's color, because last year's, I mean, it was vibrant, but yet it had a touch of an ominous feel to it. Because again, that color is in, I mix colors all the time. That color is just, to me personally, has always been hard to work with, and it's been hard to market the ultraviolet.
The ultraviolet, so, yeah.
This color has done very well through all the years that I have for both my businesses and through all the regions, because there's some regions that I sell to. Every region kind of has a little bit different style that I would kind of cater to, and some regions are more they're really stick with their seasons, whereas in California really don't. We'll wear black, red, whatever, because we only have 2 seasons here. But this color I was able to carry through spring, summer, and fall. Not so much into like the winter, but I think this, or at least 2019, I think you will see it in some of the winter Christmas trendy, more of the modern, whimsical, not necessarily the traditional market. Yeah.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so representing the fusion of modern life, Pantone Living Coral is a nurturing color that appears in our natural surroundings. And my question is, do you agree with this? Because while I see it as a happy, beachy color, and it even reminds me of, you know, weddings and like prom dresses and things like that, I don't think I ever really associate this color with nature, even though I know it comes from under the sea. But I think it's just because human beings, our natural surroundings, we would never naturally be surrounded by coral because we don't live under the sea. So what do you think about this as being associated with nature?
Where I do, it is. It's a very strong color, repeats itself in numerous places in my region. So I think in some areas, and I've traveled the world, so I definitely see it in certain regions. It is a strong reoccurring color. Again, it's in this sunsets. I see it, like the bougainvilleas are very common here. They're everywhere. And although the most common color you see is the dark pink, it does come in this coral color. There's bird of paradise everywhere here. So it's in that. It's in a lot of pretty much we have things blooming year round. We don't have this real strong dormant. Again, we have a lot of people grow a lot of citrus trees here, as well as there's a lot of ranches and orchards in my area. So the peach blossoms, kind of starting late January, early February, my peach and apricot tree will start to blossom, and it has that coral color to it. I do see a lot, even like the waxy palm tree prongs. When the sun sets, it reflects some of that coral color onto the leaves. So you kind of get the sun reflecting around on some of the plants, especially the waxier, shinier ones. So I think it depends on where you live. is how much you're going to see this color. Like in Seattle or Oregon, I don't think you see this color as much. You see a lot more greens. They don't get as much sun. So I really think it's depending on where you live.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. So I think when I initially thought about this color, this was how I saw coral being used, sort of like beach weddings, prom dresses, and maybe that's sort of just how it's been, in the recent past. But, I think it's interesting with you talking about sort of how you're seeing this color trending and coming out, and flamingos at Christmas time, like cute flamingos with, a scarf around their neck or something like that. And you're seeing it also being used in autumn colors. And I mean, it definitely would, like it obviously is in the orange family. So it would go really nicely with autumn colors as well. I think this is just how maybe it's been used in the recent past and how I was sort of thinking about it at first.
Yeah, I've seen this color a lot in trending in the weddings. Obviously, we have weddings outdoors year round in Southern California because we can. It rarely rains. So, cold is 60 degrees for us. So I see this color a lot in the weddings and just trending. It's just very popular. Again, it's a great color for us coastal people to decorate outside with, because it works well in the outside environment. Because we have it's sunny all the time. I mean, it's cloudy today, and that's so rare that it's actually still cloudy. So, in terms of the sun beating down and how it treats our outdoor furniture, our decor, this is a very outdoor friendly color for us to decorate with, because if it's going to fade or get a little bit of a sun damage, it still looks nice. Whereas some colors don't. They kind of look funny or weird when they start getting that, the fading in the sun. I saw this color a lot growing up in the 70s and 80s. And again, I grew up in a very iconic California beach town. So this color it's repeated itself over and over again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so Pantone says that living coral emits the desired, familiar, and energizing aspects of color found in nature, which does make sense, like when you're talking about actual coral. And even like what you said with the sunset, I mean, that would apply as well. It's very energizing and familiar. And in its glorious yet unfortunately more elusive display beneath the sea, this vivifying and effervescent color mesmerizes the eye and mind. Which I think is definitely true. I think people, this is a color that's hard to ignore. It's definitely like attention catching. So I definitely think they're right on when they say it's vivifying and effervescent, which I thought that was a really cute word to describe this color.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does living coral influence home decor? So this is going to be a big color, I think, coming up in home decor. And how I would have traditionally seen it would have been something kind of like this, like a southern coastal home, even, a California home, but something a little bit more, definitely with a coastal vibe or a little bit more traditional. But then when I was doing research, I started seeing this color being used in these fresh and modern ways. And it definitely feels very new, being applied with the greens or with the bright yellows and, kind of this mid-century modern furniture. Yeah, I was really liking to see it being used in this new way. And then here's another example. So I also see it as like a smart fluid evolution from millennial pink, which has been so big for the past 2 to 3 years. And it makes it a very commercial choice as well. But like we said earlier, just because millennial pink, everyone knows, has been huge. So this is just a little bit of a shift from millennial pink, but it's also got its own personality and is kind of coming up on its own as well. So it also looks great in an outdoor patio space, as well as in soft textiles like drapery. And this navy and indigo pairs really well with coral, and teals do as well, I found.
Yeah, and I'd also pair some lime greens and just different greens. I was just thinking of when the apricot and peach trees blossom and they have those pretty corally flowers. And then some of the green leaves start to peek out and they have the real bright kind of lime color and they just look really nice together. So I think in terms of home decor, I think you're going to really see a wide range of how this color is invited and incorporated into home decor. Some people will have obviously a lot of it. They may even have their, like you're showing, the walls painted or the furniture. Some may be more subdued and just add splashes of it. I mean, and it could just be, you know, a bowl of apricots on their kitchen counter or just a little hints of it there. It is, so yeah, not everyone's going to go as bold and have a tangerine colored wall or something, but I do really like it with that navy blue. I think it looks very sharp. It
was funny. I saw this article by Apartment Therapy earlier today, and they had interviewed a bunch of designers and people like Emily Henderson and Jonathan Adler and whoever. And some people had a very strong reaction to it. Like some people were so excited and like thrilled that this was the color choice because it can be very commercial, like we said earlier. But other people were like, kind of like, oh God, whoa, like maybe I could use it in an accent pillow, but you know, they were like kind of scared of it because it is a very bold color.
It is a very bold color. So I don't see, overall, I don't see that as a huge dominant. People are buying a coral colored sofa, but I do see more accents. I mean, there will be some people that will go bold, but it's a nice safe color too for because it's in between your pink and your orange. But it is a color that it's a love it or hate it. It's
right. That was the feeling I was getting.
Every color is that way. My husband was raised by blind parents. So he reacts very differently to color by association because they never talked about being raised both parents blind. They never discussed color. Everything was sound oriented. So when he sees colors, he associates it like, if he sees brown, he's like, oh, UPS brown. He associates it with some kind of a product or company that color strongly represents. So sometimes when we try to talk about color, it's very almost overwhelming to him. It's a whole nother, he gets very visually overwhelmed because I think he wasn't grown up. That wasn't a very, they obviously didn't decorate. So it's very interesting. And I had color psychology. So with a color psychology in terms of incorporating this color, because brighter colors tend to be, like, let's just say it was a restaurant decor. So your brighter colors tend to be for a kind of a fast food or a place where they make their money on how many people they get through in a day. Whereas a higher end restaurant is they make their money on how long you stay and linger and more drinks and hors d'oeuvres that you order. So the brighter colors, if you notice, like even like a juice it up or a smoothie shop, the colors are vibrant and stuff. But this color, I think, especially in the coastal areas, can be incorporated for the higher end, like with that teal and that navy blue. I think not as an accent colors. I think it's very inviting. I see it like in a high-end sushi restaurant. Because that color kind of reflects into the food as well. I think
like salmon, the color. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Okay, so I have a couple more images where the exterior uses also look lovely, bringing the vibrancy and personality to the outside of the home. So if you wanted to use this color just as like your front door color, as a color pop, that could be really nice. And even in the image on the right, I do see this as being more of like a coastal area. Like this reminds me of Savannah or Charleston or something like that. You probably wouldn't see this in other parts of where I'm from in the Southeast, like Georgia or South Carolina. But
yeah, it's here. Most of the homes have these tile roofs that are this color.
Okay, so
They
California.
start off a little darker, but they kind of fade a little bit, and they have that kind of corally terracotta color.
Mm-hmm.
My roof, I'm one of the few that actually doesn't have it. I have a charcoal because I have more of a cottagey craftsman style house, but in my tract, but a lot of them, like all my neighbors across the street, have the roofs are that color. So
Cool.
it's very reflective of the sun. It kind of, and then when the sun sets, it looks really nice. So yeah, coastal communities, I can see that. The South,
Yeah.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about social media in 2019. That was something that Pantone touched on when they were explaining this color, and they were saying that it creates a liveliness that is very relevant and effective within social media realms, because in today's world, everyone is on social media and everyone is using social media for their business. So my question is, do you see this color being Instagrammable? And to the people that are watching this, if yes, and if you think this is a great Instagrammable color, then like leave me your favorite emoji in the comments, or leave us a note in the comments and let us know how you would use this color on Instagram. And Erica, what do you think about this color being Instagrammable, as they say?
I think so, because it's a very relatable color to all. I mean, with Instagram and social media, we're interacting with people all over the world where we couldn't. I mean, I was talking a lot older than you, so I mean, I'm back in the times before internet and email, where we're calling and faxing each other. So it is a color that I can communicate with people from other parts of the country. It is because it's sherbet, it's in citrus, it's in fruits, it's salmon, it's in fish. It's a relatable color. There's everyone has this color in some form of their nature or their life. Just about every region, obviously some more than others. Maybe like you were saying, you don't see it as much in nature where you're at as I see it in here, but I see it as a color where we can all come and find something that this color is a part of our lives in some way or another. So I do see this color being going across social media very easily.
Yeah, I think too, like on social media, people want that sort of bright background, or, they want to bring color into their feed. So this is a great way to do that. I think it's a very easy color to do that with. So yeah, I definitely see this color being Instagrammable as well. Okay, so let's dive into some of the current events that have happened in the last year, and we'll touch on 2017 as well. But this was kind of interesting coming from Latrice Eisman, the executive director, and she says that color is an equalizing lens through which we experience our natural and digital realities, and this is particularly true for living coral. And with consumers craving human interaction and social connection, the humanizing and heartening qualities displayed by the convivial color living coral hit a responsive chord. So I definitely think that's an interesting point of view, that color can be this equalizing source, if you will. And yeah, just, do you want to touch on that a bit, or do you have anything to chime in?
Yeah, I do. I think, and like we were talking about earlier, it is it's a very common color that you can find something. Even if someone doesn't like the color, there is some object that you can relate it to, where that person at least likes that object. So you may not like coral, but you like sushi, or you like, So there's, there is something where you can find a common thread to relate to someone with. And in terms of latest events around the world, or at least the United States, I can see this. It's a strong color.
And with her saying that consumers crave human interaction, I think it is, maybe by that she means that it's somewhat of a grounding color as well. Like it kind of takes us back to, I don't know, this place where we are, it has a common ground. Like we are kind of connected.
when I look out one side of my house in the morning, I see this color as a sunrise. So it's the beginning of my day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, in the evening, I see this color again reflected in a sunset in the evening. So it is the beginning and the ending of my day. It kind of is my pillars to where a lot of my work in activities, you know, running kids around and stuff. So it's a big statement at the beginning of my day, and it's a big statement at the end of my day. I mean, rarely does a day go by that I don't see a sunrise or sunset, because it's hardly cloudy here.
Yeah, and it's like so gray outside. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama right now, but it's been snowing throughout the southeast. It's not snowing here, but we are getting the gray clouds like that for a few days. It normally is sunny here as well, but we get weird weather.